Good morning, everyone. We got a lot to talk about. Biggest news for us is the SEAC fail, SEAC. We'll get to that in a second. First, PPI numbers came out this morning. It was slightly better than expectations, which is putting a bid into the market. So who knows what the market's going to do today with FOMC tomorrow? To me, at this point, it's really unpredictable what happens between today and tomorrow. Last night at our weekly meetup, we had an awesome round table discussion with some key contributors in our community. And it was a great discussion. I think there was a pretty good consensus there of what we're expecting over the next year or so. So that's a really useful event. The recording is available for our VIPs in the room, and we'll be publishing that to the public over the weekend. So that's SPY, QQQ, UVXY is something I'm starting to look at again, really for the first time in many years. I usually don't trade UVXY, but that's something I'm looking at given the market volatility. So just before we get into SEAC, I do want to mention Bitcoin. You can see Bitcoin here in BITO down 4%. I don't know, that probably equates to something under 22,000. For those of you who may be interested in this, the chart to me is pretty clear that there's support at 18,000. That was both the resistance level in December 2017 and the breakout level in December 2020. So I think, and you can see the impact that's been having on Coinbase and MicroStrategy. Coinbase this morning announced a restructuring and some layoffs, 18% staff reduction. So that stock is down on that news. And a lot of you know the story about MicroStrategy and the leverage they were using to purchase Bitcoin and potentially some problems they can get into if Bitcoin drops below 21,000. So that's why Coin and MSTR. And I wanted to jump to that because all of that kind of impacts ARK. In my view, I talked about this yesterday. Bitcoin is often a kind of a leading indicator of how risk assets are going to do. So it's important to it could be important to kind of look at Bitcoin to give you an idea of where ARK is going. NASDAQ and SPY hit new lows. ARK didn't. 35 is the low on ARK that was reached a couple months ago, and it's held that so far. So that's going to be very interesting if it can hold 35. I'm not super hopeful it will, but it's interesting that it's held above its low while the major indices have not. So, all right, SEAC did not work out. This is why we diversified, down 40% this morning. It sucks, but I went through a process, the story trading process, considering fundamental sentiment catalysts and technicals. And, I can't regret that process. We can always learn from it to see if we could have made a better decision. I have been saying over the last few months that the market does not believe this merger isn't happening. And perhaps I should have listened to that more. I mean, truth be told, I did listen to that, because of market conditions, obviously, ultimately, that's why the merger didn't happen. But, between market conditions and what the technicals are trying to tell you, I did take opportunities to sell on pops. And for a few months, I was telling you guys that might be the prudent thing to do. But personally, I got sucked back into an overweight position. I bought shares between 70 and 74 cents after earnings, both because of the earnings report reiterating that they're trying to go forward with the merger, but specifically because of the Instagram post by Ryan Kavanaugh, which to me, I interpreted that this Triller got the funding. I don't know, man. Potentially there was something criminal or deceptive there, because to me, that's the only reason why the deal would not fall through is if Triller did not get the funding. So, I don't know. Very unhappy to see this. And listen, the good news is, if there is good news, we looked at this from a risk reward perspective, and this company has $16.5 million in cash, growing revenues, nearing break even. It's trading at something like, you can do the math now, 42 cents, but it's around 0.4 times sales when you exclude the cash, or even a little bit below 0.4 times sales. Now, listen, you're going to see a rotation here of different demographics, different people holding the stock. So over the last several months, people who cared about the SEAC business probably sold, and people who are interested in the merger bought, right? So the composition of shareholders primarily is those who are in it for Triller. And you can see this on social media also. They didn't really care about the existing business of SEAC. And I mean, there was like zero conversation on it. It was all about, hey, this is my way to invest in Triller. So all of those people want to sell, probably regardless of the price, because SEAC is no longer a proxy for Triller. So you could see this go to who knows what kind of levels, very low, because the supply demand is going to be off kilter here in the short term as all of those people seek to dump. And whoever's buying, they're now interested in the SEAC business again. So I don't know what to tell you over here. You got to find your exit if you want to exit. But, you know, I think the move can be exaggerated here in pre-market and this morning. And potentially there could be a better exit after things stabilize. But that's not a guarantee either. So listen, this is why you diversify. You win some, you lose some. I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy that some people may have lost money on this because of my trade idea on this. So that sucks, but hopefully our wins in other places ultimately will compensate for that. So we'll have to see. Specifically, DRIO is the one I'm really most bullish on now, but we'll get to DRIO in a second because there was news. But speaking of merger arbitrage deals, Twitter, last night, there was a report that Elon Musk is going to be, here we go, on what day? This week. I don't know what week this means. This week, Elon Musk is going to be having a thing with Twitter staff, right? So market interpreted that to mean, hey, this deal is still on. I interpret it the same way, and that's why you see the bid in the stock. I'm not buying. I'm not doing anything about it. But listen, we already got our warning from SEAC that deals can fall through in this environment. So that's the story with Twitter. That's why you see the bid. But you gotta, I guess, respect. This is why even Activision is trading way below its deal price. Twitter way below the deal price. SEAC was way below the deal price. There's certainly strong, big risks out there that these deals don't close, and unfortunately, that's what happened with the SEAC. Now to some specific news. I can't wait to talk about DRIO, but first, TWI. This has been on our radar for a long time, thanks to Sanjay and Tony. This is an agriculture stock. They've been hitting out of the ballpark. You can see it's pulling back here to the 50. Is that the DMA or the WMA? 50 DMA. So maybe it pulls back over to the 16, possibly. But they had news last night where they updated their guidance, and really strong. You can see here for the full year, we now anticipate sales to be $2.2 billion. They said their margins are improving. Adjusted EBITDA, $225 to $240 million. They also got like $22 million in tax credits over here for some legal settlement or something with Brazil. So this is trading at like 5 times adjusted EBITDA. So I don't know. I picked some up. I already had this, but I added a little at 1688 last night in after hours, and that's an agriculture stock, and they're profitable and something I can feel comfortable holding. So that's the story with Twitter. DRIO had some news last night, and there's some discussion and a little bit of controversy that I started myself, drawing attention to the filing here. So this $50 million non-dilutive credit facility, which was announced June 9th, an SEC filing came out last night detailing the details of the deal, which included the interest rate, which I think I interpreted to be around 10%, if I'm reading it right. But, which is a little bit high, obviously. But what really caught my eye was that OrbiMed got some warrants priced at VWAP. It's a 6% of each tranche. There's 2 tranches here. So 25 million tranche, they get 6% in warrants at VWAP. And then if DRIO gets the other 25 million, another 6% of that 25 million. So what that comes to ultimately is a potential dilution of 1 to 2% of outstanding shares. So it's something like there's 22 million outstanding shares. So you can see a dilution of about 220,000 shares The conversion price is around 650 for this first tranche, and then the conversion price for the next tranche, another 220,000. Basically, these are 7-year call options. You can think of it like that. These 7-year call options would be priced at VWAP, 10-day average or something like that. So the thing that ran across my mind immediately, I was like, oh, well, shit. Why did they take this deal now if they're about to announce phase 2 launch of this insurer? It's June 14th, and they've been consistently saying this quarter, which is June 30th. Why wouldn't they just wait to PR this insurer deal and get a better calculation on DWAC? So these call option strikes would be, who knows, 750 or 850 instead of 650, right? So I actually sent a message to Erez last night, and Israel's 7 hours ahead, so he promptly called me. He was awake on his way to the airport to France for some event where Rick Anderson and he are speaking, and had a nice conversation with him, and I shared the details in the VIP research room. Okay, so that's something I'm not going to disclose here because this goes out to the public at 4 p.m. I want to save that for our VIPs, but I will tell you that what he told me, which I've shared in the VIP research room, allayed my concerns about potentially the phase 2 launch of the insurer being delayed. Okay, one not related to the other. He gave me some good explanations why it's not related. And listen, at the end of the day, the dilution is so small, 1% to 2%. And what difference does it really make if the conversion price is 650 or 750? It was probably the prudent thing to do, but all of the logic behind that deal is provided in the VIP research room. Now, I think, who knows if the market was going to be upset about this. There was no PR about it. I think I stirred up some controversy and some worries in the DRIO research group. So, hey, if this sells off, it could end up being an opportunity. I see $6.50 DMA support. That could end up being a good price if they follow through and they announce this insurer deal by the end of this quarter. It could very well end up being a great entry. So, or a great place to add. So that's the story with DRIO. I want to point out from yesterday something that did work. CYRN. So I held this over the weekend from Friday, and right on top of it in the morning, I sold some in the 290s. Up here, still holding a bulk of my shares. The stock is broken over the 50 DMA. This is another one of those special situation stocks, which of course SEAC also was, but in this one, instead of a merger, it's an asset sale. They're getting over $10 million for selling part of their assets, and it's a $21 million market cap. If you look at the rest of their business, it does look like not only potentially fundamentally cheap, but you got the technical support, the technical breakout here, and the market so far agrees. Beautiful chart. If we weren't in the throes of a bear market, I would say, hey, $5 could be a target. There's some resistance at 350 first, and then 5. But it's hard to imagine a move like that in this market with CYRN. But so far, that is a winner that we found, the needle in a haystack. And we can RIBT's been strong, and XELB, another one of those special situation stocks that Julian brought to us with a partial sale, and that stock looks really cheap. So this is something I have a little bit of, and I have my eyes on to potentially buy more. So that's the story. Win some, lose some. I hate losing, but I went through the process. I relied on the StoryTrading 4 pillars, so I can't regret it too much. That's why you diversify, and it really sucks. And I hate that some people may have lost money on SEAC because of the idea I put out there. Interesting that Coinbase, I'm seeing, just popped green. I wonder what that's about. They were down sharply this morning because of the restructuring, and maybe some people are seeing that restructuring as a good thing. They're reducing their costs. There may be some other news that just came out. I don't know. So that's very interesting to see that price action over there. So 9:15, one last look to see if there's any news. MicroStrategy stock, we know about this, drops 4.7%. pre-market towards 21-month low. That's 21,000 is a key level to watch there on Bitcoin. Although they put a statement out, they sent an email to one of the financial media firms, MSTR did, that they don't expect to get a margin call below 21,000, and they have the opportunity and the means to put up more collateral instead, or something like that is what they mentioned. But I'm not playing this to the short or long side, but that is an interesting and dangerous predicament that MSTR put themselves in. So, all right, guys, that's it. And sucks again. Man, I'm going to say it 10,000 times. I hate it because we lost money on SEAC, but it is what it is. And hopefully we'll learn something for next time. Thank you, everyone. We'll continue collaborating in the rooms.